Hello everyone, I hope that you're well and having a good week or weekend or whatever time of the week it is for you right now. I wanted to talk in this video, I wanted to start off by talking about a conversation I had, basically my coming out to my ex a few weeks ago. And I don't have a fantastic relationship with her, even though it would be good if we did. And it did not go well. She found it very upsetting, which I kind of expected. I suspected it would go that way. She threw basically every kind of insult that you could imagine my way. And one thing that she kept coming round to, was how selfish I am for choosing to do this. How I'm ruining everybody's life and doing this just because of a selfish desire rather than anything else. And I wanted to explore that notion of selfishness a little bit in this video, because it's something I think that a lot of trans folk do have in their minds. It's something that we often do return to, that idea that we are selfishly imposing this identity upon the world, and the sorts of things that I'm certainly told that I'm selfish for. I'm selfish because I'm demanding people use certain pronouns and names for me. I'm demanding that people play into this fantasy that I have in my head, this unreal situation. It's a selfish act. It's what it is. I'm selfish because I'm demanding to impose myself in certain spaces. And I don't want any of those things to be true. I'm selfish because I'm having this negative impact on the people around me, the people that I love the most. And I think that's the thing that gives so many trans folk a cause for pause, because ultimately we are changing the perspectives of the folk that love us. We're telling our parents, our partners, our children, our siblings, our family and friends, that person that you thought you knew, well, actually there's something missing that you didn't know about them, that you didn't know about me. And actually it's quite a big thing, and also actually it's probably going to change the way that you perceive me and the way that you act around me, and I'm going to be asking you to do certain things for me. And it's that request that I think taps into that notion of selfishness, that we're asking people to do something for us on our behalf. And it can be really difficult to ask people to do things for you. I find it quite difficult sometimes even to ask to borrow somebody's pen, for example. So turning around and asking people to please call me by certain pronouns, it's kind of a small thing, but it kind of isn't. Because you're asking people to broaden their understanding of who you are, and despite that new understanding, to still treat you in a way that is respectful and is, well, human, I suppose. But is that really selfish? Is it selfish to be asking people to treat us with respect and to be treating us in a way that we ask to be? I think if you look in a lot of trans spaces, there's this common refrain, this response to that accusation of selfishness. And it's something along the lines of, well, isn't it selfish of the wider world and society to expect us to remain closeted and hidden and to stay behind closed doors? Isn't it selfish of society to make that demand on us, to close ourselves away? Sorry if you hear this knocking. Somebody's doing some construction outside. And I don't know the extent to which I completely agree with that. I don't think that response is going to win over a lot of people, because I've seen, again, in my comment section, and it's something that I'm aware of, there seems to be this kind of, not conflict, but maybe two different perspectives of how one person should operate in the wider world. There's a certain collective of people that seem to put society above an individual's wants and needs. It is conforming to that society's norms is the best thing that an individual can do. If you're going outside of those norms, then somehow you're doing something bad and wrong. Whereas other people seem to place a bit more importance on an individual's rights and freedoms, especially freedoms of expression, and that a society should be able to accept and allow individuals that degree of individuality, of self-expression. And I think you can probably guess which side of this debate I fall on. But at the same time, a lot of people do fall into this category. A lot of trans people fall into this category. So for those people, it can be a lot harder to understand how it's possible to break free of those norms. How can you have this situation where you can have that freedom of expression, yet still remain part of society? And it's really interesting because people often seem to be under the impression that I'm not contributing to society, that somehow by my expression, my individuality, by being outside of societal norms, that I'm not part of society, that I do not contribute, and that I do not want to contribute to a wider culture. And that's certainly not true. I have a job that I'm incredibly proud of that contributes to the improvement of society. I work in education, and you can't really get more impactful on the improvement of society than that, in my view. I think that's an essential foundation to the betterment of humanity. The company that I work for goes beyond education and also has roots in culture and other things, and it really does give me a sense of pride that not only am I able to contribute in one element to the country that I'm living in and working in, not just their education, but their culture and lots of different aspects as well, ideally to improve those things. So I don't agree. I completely disagree, in fact, that I'm completely removed from society. I feel myself as embedded within the culture that I live, that I want to be part of society. I want to pay my taxes and to be a good neighbour and to contribute to the world that I live in. I really appreciate that the place that I live has a pretty good sense of community. My corner shop, for example, I can chat to the people that work there, and it's really nice. I like that. I appreciate being part of the fabric of society. And I don't think my being transgender necessarily removes me from that. If anything else, I mean, I would say that it's our individual differences that makes a society and a culture stronger and more interesting and a better place to be. And as for the impact on my family, well, I mean, I've said elsewhere how grateful I am to them for the support that they've shown me, and I've tried to understand and I've tried to help them come to terms with what it means since I've come out. I really don't think I could do this without them, and I'm so happy and grateful to the support that I've received from them. To a certain extent, our relationship is even better. So I like to think that even though our relationship might have changed, certain aspects of it have improved. But beyond that, on a personal note, how do I put aside those accusations of selfishness from people like my ex and potentially from other members of my family as well? Well, I suppose for me, my response would be, well, I've given you half of my life. I've tried my best to be boy, to be man. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it any longer. I gave you half my life. I gave you all of the things that I could up to this point. And I just couldn't anymore. I couldn't age as a man. I couldn't get older in that way. I didn't want to die with a male tombstone. I just can't do that anymore. So if you feel that I'm being selfish by embracing the person who I am and asking you to join me on this journey, I don't know what more I can tell you. I would like to think that you respect and that you love me enough to want to be part of that, and to respect me enough to want to call me by the name and pronoun that I would like you to call me by. But if you can't do that, I don't know what more I can say. I find concluding this video quite difficult because I think on the one hand, it's going to be quite obvious what my perspective is on this matter. I think it's quite obvious. I think for most people, I could turn around and I could give you my rationales and I could tell you why I think people see us as selfish when it comes to the so-called demands of respect and of being referred to by our names and pronouns. But it feels like if I do that, it's going to turn into a kind of a he said, she said, I think this, but I think that kind of debate. And I don't really think that's particularly helpful or useful. I suppose all I can say at this point right now, if you're listening to me and you disagree with me, well, I want you to really think about why that could be. I've tried to explain my reasons in this video and elsewhere, why I've needed to do this, why I've needed to come out, why I've needed to start transitioning. I don't think I'm a selfish person. I'm asking people to look at me in a certain way, but I'm just asking people to look at me as a human. It's how I see people in the world. It's how I see people who come to my comment section and write all sorts of things. Everybody out there is ultimately a person. And we all ask others to do stuff. We all ask people to refer to us by the name that we prefer. If you ask people to have a nickname, you're kind of asking something similar. Although, obviously, for us trans folk, being referred to by our name and pronoun, that cuts a lot deeper than being preferred to be called Dave over David, for example. But that being said, if you're asking people to call you Dave over David, you've got a reason for that, and it obviously makes you happy and it makes you feel validated when people do call you Dave. And how does it make you feel when people call you David? I mean, I'm being a bit superficial here because, of course, for trans folk, it goes beyond just what do we prefer. It goes into that sense of, well, how are you perceiving us? Are you actually going to give us the respect that we're asking for? Do you see us as a human? And we understand that mistakes can be made. We understand that pronouns can get garbled sometimes. We will forgive that. We usually do. Anyway, I wanted to explore this and just start this conversation. I know that there are probably trans folk who are watching this and you've got your own view on this and you've got your own experience, and please do discuss that below. And I'm sure for non-trans folk as well, maybe you have a perspective on this, and many of you are certainly not shy in talking about this, and I welcome these comments and I look forward to the discussion and conversation after this video. If you've enjoyed this, please do like, and I do request to subscribe as well. It really does make a huge difference. I don't know if you've been following my videos. I've been so surprised by the following, so such as it is, 140 subscribers. It really does blow my mind, and it feels like only yesterday I was talking about how impressed I was by having 1 subscriber. So having 140, it really is quite something. So if you feel you would like to join the army of people following me, that would be wonderful and amazing. So please do. I appreciate everybody's comments and likes and subscriptions. So thank you very much. It means the world to me. It really does make my day. So thanks a lot. Take care and have a wonderful weekend. All the best. Bye-bye.